Well, good afternoon, everyone. We are only hours away from a government shutdown, and the Democrats have a very clear binary choice. They can choose to keep the government open by voting for a short-term, nonpartisan, clean, continuing resolution, 24 pages long, or they can vote to shut the government down. That's what we're looking at. They, as you all know, have voted during the time they had the majority 13 different times, and when Biden was in the White House, on short-term continuing resolutions, 13 different times. And so it begs the question is what's changed? And I think what's changed is President Trump is in the White House. That's what this is about. This is politics. And there isn't any substantive reason why there ought to be a government shutdown. This is something that has been done routinely, as I said, 13 different times when the Democrats have the majority. But we are not going to be held hostage for over $1 trillion in new spending on a continuing resolution, nor are we going to be held hostage to allow illegals to get free health care in a continuing resolution. These are things that they're demanding as part of their so-called negotiation. Ladies and gentlemen, there isn't anything here to negotiate. This is a routine funding resolution to keep the government open so that we can continue our appropriations work and fund the government in the old-fashioned way, which is allowing the Appropriations Committee, Democrats and Republicans, to work together as they have been. And by the way, the Democrat leader keeps talking about not consulting. The Appropriations Committee, they picked the date. Democrats and Republicans, the big four on the Appropriations Committee, were consulting. They picked the date for the continuing resolution, November the 21st. And so this has been an open process from the very beginning. This year we opened up the appropriations process, something that wasn't done when the Democrats had the majority here in the Senate. But they have a clear choice in front of them today. And I hope there are Democrats out there. This may not represent the view of their leadership, but I'm hoping there are Democrats out there who are reasonable and understand what's at stake here. And as they have articulated many times in the past, the costs associated to the American people with a government shutdown. This is totally avoidable. It is a decision they're going to have to make, and if the government shuts down, it is on the Senate Democrats. The House has acted, the President's ready to sign the bill, and all that's left is for 8 Democrats to join us in passing that bill today. Senator Barrasso.
Well, the radical wing of the Democrat Party is demanding that Chuck Schumer shut down the government. If not, they'll be held to pay. We know that Chuck Schumer has had a war room going for the last couple of months to orchestrate the shutdown. That is their plan. So he comes up with this ransom note asking for $1 trillion to just keep the government open for 4 weeks. Republicans aren't going to buy that. President Trump's not going to sign it. There's a solution, and it's a simple, clean, continuing resolution to keep the government funded for the next 7 weeks as the appropriations committees work through the process. Democrats are pretty familiar with this. They've done it 13 times when Biden was in office, and the minimum number of votes they got was 65. But Chuck Schumer continues to bow down to that liberal wing, AOC, Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren. The American people should not suffer the costs and the consequences of a Schumer shutdown because he is politically toxic in his own party.
All right, Mayor.
Good afternoon. Do you think if the president goes through and unilaterally starts to cut programs or lay people off, that will start to resonate with some of your Republican colleagues and say, hey, wait a minute, you know, he has that authority, but these are programs or things that are important to us. Is that a risk for Republicans?
Well, it's a risk that can be totally avoided. And if you're a Democrat who on countless occasions in the past has talked about the adverse consequences, the words of the Democrat leader, harmful, painful, chaotic consequences of a government shutdown, then just vote to keep the government open. I mean, those are things that they don't control, we don't control. How a shutdown gets managed is, at this point, a hypothetical question.
But your members aren't concerned that this might backfire, and sometimes these programs come back and they say, wait a minute, that was important to my state, that was important to my district.
Our members are unified that a government shutdown is a really bad idea for all those reasons, and it's the exact reason why Democrats ought to vote to keep the government open.
Democrats have been pretty clear they're going to defeat this House CR when it comes to the floor today. What is Plan B? Will you keep on bringing this back to the floor? And do you think the House should reconvene before Tuesday to maybe move the ball?
I don't know what the House can do that they haven't already done. They passed the bill. It's a bill that's passed by the House, sitting here in the Senate, ready to be signed into law by the President. And so, no, it's up to the Senate Democrats. That's where we are. And if they decide to vote it down tonight, they're going to be the ones that have to explain at midnight tonight why the government is shut down. It's really pretty straightforward. And this is something, again, that's been routine around here for a long time until all of a sudden the far left, as Senator Barrasso pointed out, hijacked the Democrat leadership here in the Senate, and they've decided to hijack the American people and hold them hostage to try and get a laundry list, a wish list, a Christmas list of their left-wing priorities attached, in their case, to a 4-week continuing resolution. Ours is 7 weeks, but they'll have the same leverage 7 weeks from now that they have today. And as I've said before, we're happy to sit down with them and talk about the concerns they have, the issues they have with, for example, the premium tax credits. But you got to do that. You can't do that in the context of a hostage situation.